You find the person you trust, surround yourself with them. This is a relationship business. So it's about forming that bond, having that relationship. We are tricked into thinking, especially with social media nowadays, we're tricked into thinking that millionaires are made from maybe an inheritance or maybe a little luck or maybe like a stock option blows up or something like that. What actually is true is the average millionaire did it little by little by little by little over a long period of time.
Welcome to Talking Retirement, brought to you by NJ Life and Health. I'm your host, Ken Connolly, and each week we sit down with fascinating guests who share their insights, experiences, and expert advice to help you make the most of your golden years. Thank you so much for tuning into Talking Retirement today. We have an awesome guest, Mr. Joel Miller of Flames Financial Planning. He is here to share so much information about not only the world of financial planning, but how he is innovating and making it so people have access to more services outside of just financial planning in one easy to use space. So Joel, thank you so much for coming on today. How are you?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. It's an absolute privilege. Hello to all the listeners out there, wherever you are. Pumped to bring some awesome content and wisdom to you today.
Yeah, so I think the best way to start about this, Joel, is you are a fee-only advisor. Can you explain to the listeners the difference between a fee-only advisor and I believe the term is an AUM, assets under management?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of buzzwords, so it's really hard to keep them straight. Let me see if I can break them down for you. One, there's flat fee, which means that's what Flames Financial Planning is. We do not charge, or we don't base your membership off of how many assets you have. 90% of advisors have an AUM percentage, which means if the market goes up, if you do a rollover, if you do a contribution, guess what? Your fee might have increased as well. So flat fee financial planning is a very new thing to the industry, and we're happy to be a trailblazer trying to disrupt the planning industry from these traditional methods that have happened for a really, really long time. So there's a bunch of buzzwords, but that's flat fee planning. Another one to be on the lookout for is fee only. So you want to make sure if you're getting a recommendation from someone, are they getting a commission from that or not? It's really, really wise to get a second or a third opinion. If someone's recommending you a policy or a product, just make sure that they do have your best interest in mind, because there's always going to be conflict of interests. We can never completely remove those, but we want to try to eliminate those as much or where we can as possible.
I know you said you're trailblazing. Have a lot of people told you you're crazy for doing what you're doing? Like, what's the response been as you've been making this company?
I mean, am I leaving revenue on the table? Absolutely. I could try to be making more, but that's not what it's about. What this is about is bringing financial planning and a dedicated relationship to people who have historically always been ignored. The mass affluent class, the blue collar people, that's what America is built on. And for the last 50 years, no advisor has wanted to work with them, because an advisor has historically only gotten paid on the assets that they're managing for you. So they want to say, hey, hand over $500,000, hand over $1 million, and I'm going to charge you a percentage of that continues to increase as you do well in life. So have people called me crazy? Absolutely. Am I up for the challenge? 100%.
That's exciting, and you have great enthusiasm, so it's always cool to see. But can you dive into, what did you call it, the ignored affluent class, or what was that concept again?
Yeah, the mass affluent class is my favorite. Having conversations around buying your first home, having your first child, trying to raise your kids and trying to grasp the psychology of money. The blue collar mass affluent class, most of them didn't have parents who taught you how to do this. You have to get into life and figure it out on your own, which just slows you down. Typically, the affluent class or the wealthy, they maybe had parents that taught them this. They grew up with money. So if you do that, it's a lot easier and you have an advantage. You have a head start in this race of life. I want to change that. I want to make financial planning affordable for the average person. I want to make sure that if you have enough income to afford a subscription, to afford the membership, we don't want to deny you access to that. So I'm trying to help raise awareness. I'm trying to help educate. I want to help the average American get more access to better financial planning.
It's a great mission. I know that across the board, so many people just don't have any idea how finances work. You mentioned the psychology of money. I imagine you've read the book, which is an amazing book. What are some psychological things you have to go through with your clients as they approach you? Some practices or beliefs you have to debunk before you're able to really get them on board?
We are tricked into thinking, especially with social media nowadays, we're tricked into thinking that millionaires are made from maybe an inheritance or maybe a little luck or maybe like a stock option blows up or something like that. What actually is true is the average millionaire did it little by little by little by little over a long period of time, saving into their 401k and traditional methods. So we needed to break down this barrier of that, oh, well, this comparison is the thief of joy, and that stops us from doing anything. So there's a lot of psychology things that we have to break through. We have to break through maybe good or bad habits that you learned from your parents. So you can rewrite your own financial journey. If you're young, if you're in your 20s, 30s, or 40s, you can still make it whatever you want to be, and it is not too late. So what I want to help do is try to get this introduced sooner and earlier. A small number multiplied by a small number over a long period of time becomes a long number. So people stop aiming for perfection. It is about getting started. It's about starting small and being consistent through your financial journey.
It's a great way to look at it. I love the can-do attitude where you say, we're not going to focus on the richest of the rich. We're going to focus on what you can do and how over many decades you can use the magic of compounding interest to increase your wealth. I think the most interesting part of your business, and there are many, is the fact that not only does that subscription give you access to you and all the financial products that you have, but you also do things like tax planning, estate planning, everything like that. Can you explain how those services work under the hood in your company and why you've decided to package everything into one easy one-stop shop?
Absolutely. This was a no-brainer for me. And one of the things that I was putting a number one priority in running a business and offering a membership. When you have all of these things to think about, they weigh you down, they slow you down, and that stops you from making progress forward. So what Flames Financial Planning wants to do is how many burdens of those can we take on? I want to try to do as much as we can for you so you don't have to worry about that. There's not a lot of things that are flat out true across the board for every American. But you know what is? Everyone does a tax filing. Most people need an estate plan. Everyone needs a plan and a journey that is specific and tailored towards you, and investments are a great way to do that. So what really boggles my mind about the traditional way that this industry has worked is a lot of people are so willing to charge you 1% to do your investments and your planning. And they say, good luck on your tax filing. Let me know how it goes. Maybe send me the tax return when you're completed. And oh, by the way, there's this thing called estate planning that maybe we'll get to, maybe we never will, but I don't include it. So hopefully you don't bring it up with me. That's where mistakes creep in. That's where accidents happen. That's where things get lost in communication, because I've gotten a tax return from someone and I was like, wait a minute, you didn't tell me that you were doing this, or I told you to do something and like it didn't happen. So I wanted to try to bring those all under one roof for the one subscription. So ideally we eliminate like mistakes and we try to optimize your plan. So it feels so good when someone says, I've done my own tax return for the last 10 years, and now a tax professional is going to do that for me on my behalf. All I have to do is fill out a questionnaire and upload my documents. It almost feels like imposter syndrome, because you feel like this shouldn't be happening to you. Like, will only the wealthy have like a tax professional, or only the wealthy have someone do their taxes for them on their behalf, or only the wealthy should have an estate plan. And those are all false narratives that we're looking forward to changing.
Yeah, it's amazing that you're, like you said, going through the mass affluent and saying, even if you don't feel wealthy, we're going to make you feel wealthy just through the services and everything that we give. And going back to your point about putting everything under one roof, one of the issues we run into is sometimes someone's financial planner tells them to take a 401k distribution or something, and it messes up their calculations for Medicare in a weird way. So if everybody isn't talking, it really can lead to a lot of headaches down the line. But you obviously have an amazing service suite. You're doing so many cool things. We work with a lot of amazing financial planners locally. And one of the things we find is people come to us and say, we hate our financial planner. We've been with, XYZ company see on TV, and they are terrible. They are constantly switching our broker. They are, not giving us a lot of money back, but we just don't want to leave that brand name. How do you differentiate yourself and let people know, no, I'm your guy and you can leave the person on TV behind because I'm going to be better?
It all comes down to trust. This is a relationship business. So it's about forming that bond, having that relationship. And that's why I do 99% of my business on Zoom. I might call you for like a quick question, something here or there, but I want to replicate in a remote business that is built on trust and relationships. I want to replicate as if we were sitting across the table from each other. Right now, you and I are in very different places in the US, but we're having a conversation as if we were sitting across from each other. And that's what we need to replicate. We need to make them feel that. We need to make sure they're appreciated. And what people really care most about is how quickly I can get in touch with you when I need you. That's one of the foundational things is we are just a message away. We are just a quick message. And if we can't figure it out via email, here's my link, jump on my calendar. You will see lots of availability so that I can help you in an impromptu and immediate session, because that's what it's all about. People, what I've realized is people don't actually care about, let me pre-schedule something 3 to 6 months in advance. What it really comes down to is, are you going to be available for me tomorrow if there's an emergency and if I need to get in touch with you?
It's a great way to look at it. Customer service comes down to, I have a problem now, not in 6 months. So it's a really cool way to articulate that point. I think that's a really awesome way to look at the service that your business provides. What are some pre-retirement blind spots you find people are constantly putting themselves in if they're, let's say, our age, 30s, 40s?
One of the things that people confuse so often, I'll ask how much you're putting away into your 401k, and they're like, oh, I'm maxing it. Come to find out they're doing 3, 4, 5, or 6%. The word max and the word match are very different. Your employer might be giving you a 3% match and you need to put in 3% to get that, or maybe you need to put in 6% to get that 3%. Oftentimes people are so caught up in how can I decrease my tax bill? What can I do? I want to pay less to the government. I want to do this. Come to find out they're not even maxing out their 401k. So there are easy and applicable and legal ways for you to get an immediate win with a tax decrease. You're in either your highest income, your highest tax bracket right now, but I hope we can increase that as well. How can we delay gratification? How can we put money away into your 401k, your Roth IRA, your HSA? How can we optimize your tax return? How can we optimize your investments? There's so many things that we can do and that we can play with, but people get overwhelmed. So one of the things that I find most often are people are afraid to pay an expert because they don't know how it's going to benefit them. But what we need to all find out is if we don't have the time, willingness, or ability to do something on our own anymore, wisdom is knowing when you need to pass something on to a professional, even if there is a cost involved. So for me, it's my car. Cars are basically driving computers nowadays. So I didn't know how to fix a traditional car, let alone one that runs with a screen and a brake system that I've never looked at. If I tried to diagnose and fix a problem in my car, I'm going to end up paying more to have a real professional fix it afterwards. So I think that's something that we need to change is don't be afraid to pay money for a professional if you don't have the time, willingness, and ability.
I know you talked about max, match, and something so tiny like that can really throw people for a loop. What are some other misconceptions or maybe misunderstandings people have in the finance sector that could be easily, switched like that?
Financial risk is one that gets pushed off for so long. I talk to so many people. I don't want to make up a percentage, but way too many people are underinsured when it comes to term insurance, right? I talk to married couples. I talk to people with kids, and they'll say, oh yeah, well, I have like life insurance through work. It's maybe 1x my salary is a really common number. And I'm like, have you ever talked to your wife about what would happen if you weren't here anymore? Have you ever really thought about how your kids are going to make it through school or if your mortgage is going to get paid off? So that's a common thing I see way too often is that people have the misconception that they have the right amount of life insurance because they have a life insurance through work that is paid on their behalf. That's a really big one. And then I also see people just completely neglecting an estate plan because they think They don't think. They just assume that it will work out. And if you don't have a plan, the government has a plan for you. You have assets. If you are over the age of 18, you literally can and should have a will, power of attorney, and medical directive, because as a responsible adult, that is a responsible thing to do. Create an estate plan, not for you, but for the people that you're leaving behind, because they're the ones that are going to have to go through the headache if you did not do what you were supposed to when you were alive and healthy.
I want to build off both those points because we are life insurance brokers, and it is amazing how many people say, I'll get to that. I'll get to that. I'll get to that. And to your point, maybe your life insurance is 1x your 80 or $100,000 a year salary. You might need $500,000 to $1 million worth of life insurance. And what does it cost? 40, $50 a month? It's essentially nothing, right?
100%.
It's crazy to see. So I'm glad you brought that up and you're on that train. But I think the reason a lot of people don't focus on these things, especially at a young age, is that it just seems scary. It seems like death. Do you ever pivot the conversation from this is about death to this is about leaving a legacy?
This is an opportunity to change someone else's life, right? So that's like why I have $2.5 million on my life, and it costs like $1,100 a year. My wife and I together pay just under $1,900 a year for our term policies. I have 2.5 million and she has 1.5 million. And that's about leaving a legacy because I love her and I love my two boys. The worst possible thing that I could even imagine happening right now is losing my wife or my wife losing me. So how can I do everything I can to set up her and my two boys up for success? And that is paying my favorite bill, which is my annual life insurance bill. And like you said, it's unreal affordable for the amount that it can decrease your financial risk.
I love that you're approaching it from a place of love and not like, I got to get to it. It's a chore. It's no, this is one of the most loving things I can possibly do for somebody. I was doing a lot of research on you, Joel, and you're a really interesting guy. I know in your youth, you spent a lot of time doing mission trips all over the world. Can you talk about a couple of the mission trips you did and how you add that to your mission in your business?
This is one of the things that is most important to me because it's helped build my character and shape who I really am at my core. So faith and religion, my relationship with the Lord Jesus Christ has been the number one priority in my entire life, thankfully from a very, very young age, and even still up to this today in leading my family well. So mission trips are truly something that changed my future. I wouldn't be who I am today without those trips to Mexico to build a house, or my trip to the Czech Republic to lead an English sports camp, or to Haiti to do eye clinics. That built my worldview. That helped me realize that the world is so much bigger than my house and my city in my state in the United States. Travel is so important because it helps you see what other people are going through. If you can step into someone else's shoes, it's going to reset your perspective. It's going to reshape the way that you think about people, the way that you talk to people, all of that. So I'm very thankful for the opportunities that I had. And a lot of that comes instilled in from my parents. My dad's been a pastor my entire life. And I'm so thankful for the things that they taught me. Were they the best at their finances? No. And not a lot of people are. But the things they taught me about who I am and shaping my character, that's what I will be able to continue to teach my boys in the lessons that were important to me.
That's really awesome to hear about building houses in Mexico and traveling the world and really making an impact in any way you can. How do you hope Flames Financial in the next, let's say, 5-10 years can make an impact in other people's lives?
That's a great question, and something that I want to make sure is continued importance, because we want to change the world, right? We're going to change the world. I'm very confident about that. And I think that comes with education. That comes with teaching people and equipping people to make an impact in your own personal life, and then go teach someone else how to do that, right? The Bible teaches us to think generations ahead. So not only am I saving for my kids, but I want to think about my kids' kids. And that's a very different mindset shift. We are very prideful people. We are very selfish people. So what I love is running a business with a biblical perspective and biblical worldview helps me form and reshape these ideas about what it means to manage your money. How should you feel about your finances? What is your order of priority in your life? I make short form content that I post on Instagram and YouTube every single day. And the video I posted today was about the love of money is the root of all evil, because we cannot have money as our first and highest order of good in our life. Look at all the people who have a ton of money they don't know how to do with. Athletes, actors, actresses, bands, and artists. Money does not fix your problems. It amplifies who you are as a person. So if you have money as your master, if money is your first and highest order good, everything underneath that is going to suffer. So I want to reshape. I want to lower money on the priority list, which sounds very ironic. And
I
it
was going to
sounds
say,
very,
as a financial advisor, it seems like, you're flipping the pyramid, which is
as a
good.
financial advisor and as a CEO, that sounds weird to hear, but trust me, that's how it needs to work.
We talk about making an impact, and that's an amazing answer, by the way. So thank you for that. One of the things I like to kind of hit people with, whether we talk about it ahead of time or not, is this idea of, let's say you're Secretary of Treasury tomorrow, you're in charge of the Small Business Association, whatever you want to say. Let's say you are in charge of all business in the United States tomorrow, Joel. What macro level changes would you like to make that would make people's lives easier?
All right, this is a hot take, and I can't wait to hear what people think about this one. What I would do is I would eliminate the ability for businesses and people to buy multiple residential American homes. Homes
Oh,
are,
no, please. That's amazing. Amazing.
we need to protect the average American. The mass affluent and the blue collar class, I love them, but we are getting taken advantage of by either wealthy or by businesses. Because if, let's say, if I had millions and millions and millions of dollars, you know what I would be doing? I would be buying up homes and renting them out to someone. Renting is just going to keep you in this bad habit and this bad cycle. That's what I would do, because we need to make the average American home more affordable. We need to get people in homes. We need to stop allowing the wealthy to buy tons of homes and rent them out, charge whatever they want. We need to stop businesses from buying residential homes. They need to keep the corporate profits out. And they can do a lot of other cool and unique things, but that's absolutely the change that I would make if I had some sort of say in legislation.
To have somebody just say it out loud is so refreshing. So thank you for that. It is true. I mean, I've actually helped a couple people build real estate websites in my local area. And one of the things I do is check their Zillow listings of the properties they've sold. And I can see since 2020 and 2025, the houses have literally doubled in value. It's becoming almost impossible for anybody but super wealthy people to buy houses locally or to get like an injection in cash from family. The American home should be the primary way for you to build equity as an American. So thank you for taking a stand on that.
Yeah, it's something I'm super passionate about. I own zero real estate other than my primary mortgage. I want to have one home because I don't need more than that. There are so many other ways to build wealth. I personally don't need to take advantage of someone else and charge them for it. So I'm not saying that renting is bad, and I'm not saying that all of these things have to change, but that's where I would like to see the direction go. I want the average American to be in a home. I want you to have the space to grow your family, to do cool things and make memories, but it's getting way too difficult. The prices of homes are too high. The prices of rent is too high. And that's because there's a lot of people that have access to wealth and are pushing you out of the American home, which is really, really hard and sad to watch.
No, it's amazing. So thank you again. And I know you talked about you don't want people to use real estate to build wealth. What are some avenues you would like to see people use to build wealth?
I think everyone has access to the public stock market. I think that's an amazing way that people forget about. I hear people talk all about passive income, and they think that means buying real estate, renting it out to someone. There's nothing more passive than an automatic contribution into your IRA, 401k, or taxable account, right? That's passive. So what I love to do is help educate people on why the public stock market is so important. And then if you have tons of wealth, there are also other unique methods that we can take advantage of, but it is almost undervalued at this point of being a boring old investor. I use the analogy KISS. Keep it stupid simple, because we don't need to overcomplicate it. We just need to be and participate in the market. And it's really hard. You watch TikTok videos, you watch social media things, and you think that there are all of these creative and unique methods. If you're a go-getter and if you're an entrepreneur, then challenge yourself and like run your own business and be successful in that way. But if you just want to build long-lasting wealth, it's a marathon, not a sprint. I love to just educate people and teach them about low-cost ETFs and the power of compounding interest.
In an era of, like you said, TikToks of people pushing crypto and drop shipping and arbitrage and real estate scams and everything like that, it is really hard to navigate. Are there any people in this finfluencer area, let's say the Dave Ramseys of the world, are there any people in this space that you actually find people can trust?
I personally love Dave Ramsey. He's changed the lives of millions of people out there, of average everyday Americans, because people just want to ask. We're so afraid to ask the question. And that's why I also want to provide a place for people to ask questions. We should not be so afraid of the judgment of a simple question. When someone says, hey, I have a dumb question, I say, there is no such thing. Do not say that, because there is no such thing as a dumb question when it comes to your personal finances. The dumb question is the one you did not ask. So I want people to follow. I love Dave Ramsey. I love Ramit. Some of these people who are just trying to get back to assisting and helping the mass affluent class, because those are the ones that need the most help. And it is hard. You do have to find the person you trust. If you find the person you trust, like, surround yourself with them. Try to be like them. Try to imitate them. This is not only good for your finances, but for everything. You will become the average of the 5 most closest people that you spend your time with. So whether it's physical goals, financial goals, career goals, try to surround yourself with successful people and traits that you want to be more familiar to.
I think one of the main stresses in any relationship is not being on the same page about money. And I think one of the issues in the psychology of money is we're kind of taught to not talk about it. So whether it's your own family or your clients, how do you make sure that spouses are on the same page about what they're doing with their money, short and long term?
I think it starts with combining your finances. I think that is a hard rule that everyone should follow, no matter what you believe. When you are married, so are your finances. If you hide things and keep them separate and keep them apart, that's where, again, some of these things can creep in about hiding something from your spouse, hiding from that person that you are supposed to be equally yoked to and that you are supposed to know everything about. So I think it starts with combining your finances, having open and honest conversations around, hey, what do you like? What do you not like? What brings you energy? What brings you down? Having that just aligned objective and those aligned goals. That's why I love to help couples with their personal finances, because it might be a difficult conversation. If you watched your parents fight about money, and especially when money is one of the leading causes of divorce here in America, what are we doing? We got to get rid of that. This should be bringing people together. Should be bringing you closer to your loved one, because you're bonding over it and you're creating shared experiences and memories with your wife or your kids over this. It tears me apart inside that this is breaking people apart instead of bringing them together.
It's really cool to see the ethos behind what you do, and that you're using money not for a way to just build wealth and it's like number go up, but these are tangible things you can acquire with your money. You can build a life, you can build a family. Is that just who you've always been? You've just always wanted to do things for the positive as opposed to just do it because it makes people rich?
I'm a positive guy. There's not a lot that can weigh me down. I know the saying is like the glass half full or is the glass half empty. There's water in it. It's full, right? It is overflowing. I'm very thankful where like joy is just naturally built up within me. And I think a lot of that does come like from my faith and my relationship with Jesus, but also we got to be like that, right? Like we got to be the change that we want to see in the world. So I challenge everyone to go be the change. Don't sit on the sideline. Put yourself into the game and go make a difference. Because if you're not doing it, so one of the things I think about it, one of the ways I view it, if I'm not here having this conversation, someone else is. But I trust myself and I want to push what I believe is true compared to what someone else might think is their true, right? So truth is truth, and that's what I'm trying to raise awareness of. I want to change the way that something has existed for too long and people have been taken advantage of or denied access to. So I'm very thankful. I think it comes a lot of from my upbringing and my own natural personality. I often say that I have the memory of a goldfish, because if you hold on to something like a grudge, you're just drinking poison and hoping that someone else gets injured from that. So we need to learn to shake things off, move forward, and keep going down the direction that you believe in.
Is the think like a goldfish? Is that from Ted Lasso? Is that what you're thinking?
It's not, but that is really funny. That was actually a great show that I enjoyed watching.
So let's say people have stumbled. Let's say people do want to get back on the path of finances. We've all been young in our 20s and made bad financial decisions, or maybe you didn't, work quite as much. What are some small actionable steps you can take when you're looking to get into that better financial direction?
We got to stop taking out loans for everything. We are in such a culture right now where we want immediate access to whatever we want. It is far too often that I talk to someone and they have 2 car loans and a mortgage and student loans, and they financed their basketball hoop, they financed their trampoline, they financed something else. That we have to change that. We need to get back to pushing a goal off for maybe 6 months, 1 year, 2 years. We need to get back to being able to save up cash little by little and then go purchase that thing in cash. Go wait on the car. Go buy the car in cash instead of taking out a loan for $60,000 and having this massive car payment, right? So that's number one, is we need to get back to delayed gratification. And then that's where it starts. Never have credit card debt. If you can't pay off your credit card balance at the end of every single month, you overspent. You need to decrease your spending if you have a credit card balance today. And then that opens up to everything else. Getting your emergency fund set, putting away 20% towards your retirement accounts. And if you don't start with the most simple, you're never going to be able to get to the most complex. So we have to start at the beginning. Just like building a house, you go from the foundation and up. So don't try to put in the roof if your ground floor is not finished.
Something I've been reading is about these buy now, pay later loans. They're not really credit card debt, but they're kind of like 4 or 8 payments. And it even goes to things like DoorDash, where it's like, oh, you have this $20 bill from DoorDash, and oh, do you want to break it into 4 payments? It's just getting so ridiculous how much debt is like creeping into every aspect of our life.
Yeah, and they want to do that, right? Because they know there are studies that show the credit cards that there's a reason why you get something in the mail every other day from another credit card company, because they want you to keep putting things on loan. They want you to keep putting things on credit card. So if you have to know this about yourself, again, this is wisdom. Know what you can handle or what you can't handle. If you continue to get into credit card debt month over month over month, cut it up. Get rid of it, because whatever you purchased, if you couldn't pay it off, it was not worth it.
Something we talked earlier about in the podcast, but we didn't really get to expand upon, is this idea of continuous communication, how you want to be available for people whenever they need you. How are you able to use technology to like leverage this and make sure people get the attention they deserve?
I love this question because technology, we're in such a cool space right now with technology and proactive outreach. I want to make sure that clients of Flames are proactively being reached out to, right? If you have something, absolutely, we want you to reach out to us, but we also want to reach out to you if we have something we want to discuss, or if we just haven't touched base in a while, because we want to be doing life with you. And what that means is, hey, every 90 days, I was thinking about you. How are you doing? What's new in your life? Is there anything that I can take off of your shoulders? Please don't hesitate to let me know. So I just love that about the business, is just continuing to do life and walking through life with you instead of like a, hey, set it and forget about it, and I'll see you in 6 to 9 months.
Well, Joel, I love the enthusiasm. I love the ethos. I love just all the education you've been able to give everybody. If people want to work with you, if people want to watch your short form videos, how can they find you?
Absolutely. Thank you again to all the listeners out there. I am proud of you for listening today. This means you want growth. This means you want to do better. You want to change your life or equip and teach someone how to change theirs. So we would love to meet you. I would love to hear your financial journey. If you're interested in a membership at Flames Financial Planning where your investments financial planning, tax filing, and estate planning are all included, it would be our honor and privilege to serve you. You can go to the website flamesfp.com to learn more. You can jump on my calendar and we'll do a free introduction call where I can hear more about your financial journey and see if it's a good fit. If you love what you heard today and you just want more of it, you can follow me on YouTube or Instagram, Joel Miller CFP. I post daily financial content. So that way I can teach you about these basic subjects that we should have learned a long time ago.
Of course, Joel. So everybody, please give him a follow. We will link everything he just said in the videos below. And Joel, thank you so much for giving us your wisdom, and we'll talk to you soon.